and welcome to a new episode of the SAW Yap Show. When I started searching about today's topic, I was like, let me see what other people are saying about it. Let me check what the social media is actually thinking about. So I listened to a few episodes of some podcasts. For example, there was a guy that said something that really caught my attention. He claimed that the older you get, the harder it becomes to make friendships. They just become shallower. And he talked about how sometimes you have to share your entire schedule just to squeeze in a coffee date. And in his opinion, all this is a bullshit. It's a total waste of time and energy. Then we have our queen, Madeline RG. I love her, by the way. She's a queen. She's the diva. She's the moment. I listen to her podcast and I love it. She has the podcast called Lonesome, where she romanticized and normalized not having friends, and we love it. We appreciate it. I see the vision and I see the perspective, but over time I just noticed something weird happening on social media, on all of the platforms. We stopped appreciating genuine friendships. Instead, we just started romanticizing the alone but not lonely lifestyle. And don't get me wrong, it's amazing. This is how I lived most of my life. But everything changed when I experienced a real friendship. It was a milestone that helped me to become a better version of myself. Thanks to them, I've made some of the best memories in my life and lived through moments of emotional clarity that I didn't know they were possible. I know now I sound cliche. I am just throwing a moral that you might hear at the end of a bedtime story, or maybe something that an employed 22-year-old would say because they have too much time to hang out with their friends, go on walks with them, hit up on cafes, or squeeze in a gym date. Like, it's not a big deal. But I'm telling you, after this episode, you will see friendships in a new light. You will see them from a different angle, and I still appreciate solitude. My story with the friendships and relations is an emotional roller coaster. Me now and me 10 years ago, we're not the same person. We have different mindsets and we would make different choices, especially when it comes to our social life. So basically, if you're struggling to make friendships, or you think they are just a waste of time and not worth your mental and physical energy to maintain them, listen to this episode. You will understand what real friendship can do to your life from someone who spent more than 18 years being emotionally independent. I will reformulate it. I wasted 18 of my life thinking that I had it all figured out being solo. We know all that everything starts at childhood, right? That's where our personalities and habits are shaped. In most cases, we're used to kids running around, yelling nonsense, asking random questions, and suddenly dropping family secrets. My dad is cheating, but he told me not to tell anyone. Or, do you know that my parents are cousins? That kind of hilarious chaos that makes you laugh and also wonder at the same time what's going on in the household. Well, I was not that type of a kid at all. I was dead serious. I was living in my own little competitive world. In elementary school, I was not what you would call friendly. Of course, I was not mean, but I was not friendly, to be honest. The 8-year-old me had some beliefs that, looking back, are honestly disturbing. I genuinely believed that friends were distraction. School was only for studying, nothing else. Any 5 seconds of a chat with a classmate or a small interaction with a friend is dangerous for my focus and also for my success. So I used to arrive to school super early, sit in my desk, open my textbook, read it until the teacher comes, and when she walks in, full attention to the board, listening to whatever she's saying and not interacting with any of my surroundings. You may say now, like, oh, you're just a dedicated student who doesn't like talking during lessons. No, that's just a part of the reality. I was not talking to anyone. Literally, I was a rock. It doesn't matter if someone called my name 1,000 times, they needed help, or they needed just to say hi, or needed something from me. I was ignoring everyone. I was ignoring every voice. I had a filter in my head somehow that any voice except the teacher's voice was not getting into my mind, was not being analyzed, and my brain cells were not constructing any answers to it, or even trying to understand or hear. I used to beg the teacher to let me sit alone, and she usually agreed because I was a smart kid and teachers love that. I sit by myself for years And one class year, the stars aligned and the student's number was not in my favor. So the teacher had to let me sit with another girl. I did not like that. To be honest, I was really mad inside, but I acted like it was fine, it was okay, you can sit next to me, girly, and nothing will happen to you. OMG. Whenever I remember what happened between me and that girl, let's call her Amanda, I feel really deep in guilt. I ignored her completely. Even when she asked about something simple like an eraser, I had an eraser. I love helping people. I would, if she was not in class, I would give her my eraser and my whole pencil case, but I was in class mode where I was not interacting with anyone. So she asked me for the first time, give me the eraser. I completely ignored her. The second time, I ignored her. And I also remember that we were sitting in the table and suddenly I got my black pen and I drew in the middle a straight line. This is my territory, this is your territory, do not even cross it. And that poor girl, she eventually told her mom, and her mom came to our teacher and she told her that I am impossible to deal with, and the teacher had to move her to another place. And basically that was me. I am not proud, but was the in-class type of mode I was in. I did not, to be honest, even socialize with my siblings. I will never forget when my sister told me that she did not realize that I was part of the family or I lived with them until COVID-19 happened, because we were finally stuck at home together and I had nothing to do, schools were closed. I was obliged to deal with it and live with them. And even before that, I have never played with other kids, including my siblings that live with me under the same roof. I was entertaining myself independently. I was playing with myself, making fake scenarios and implementing them alone. Just me and the reflection of me on the mirror. I was just taking a hairbrush, for example, and sit next to the mirror and start singing or presenting a news report or whatever I saw on the TV. Or came up to my little creative brain. Sometimes I would sit on one side of the coach as a journalist and ask the question like, what is the song Rose talking about? And then I move quickly to the other side of the coach. Sometimes I even changed the costume. I was that dedicated. I took off if there was a little scarf on my shoulder, or I just changed the color of the scarf or the dressing of my hair, and I pretend I'm the guest, I'm the star, and I started responding with a big smile on my face. Rose is an extremely special song for me. I wrote it to describe any type of love in this word and how beautiful it is. And I keep explaining every single word or lyric that was in the song Rose. I remember it exactly. It was called Rose and I was having the same scenario every time. And its deep meanings. And at that time, I remember I was like 9 or 10. I was not sure, but I know that I was too young. And then middle school came and I started slowly breaking away from those toxic beliefs that I had. I still ask the teachers to let me sit alone, even in the worst place, even in the worst seat, in the back of the class. I see nothing, there is nothing on the board. I just prioritized my peace and didn't care if I was sitting among the worst people. And I didn't care if I sit in the worst place. And I did not make any friends. I only made one friend, let's call her Jenny, and our friendship was a little weird. It was a not enough type of friendship because it was my fault. I was not able to handle seeing or talking to the same person every single day. I was not used to it. One day we would laugh about everything and the next day it was just like a high and by type of conversation. Don't imagine me as an introverted, shy nerd that had no life. No, not at all. I was the opposite. I was really confident in class. I was always raising my hand, answering to the teacher's questions with a really loud voice. If there is any type of discussion in class, I was the first one raising hand and giving my opinion and interacting with other people when it comes to that type of discussion. I acted in plays in and out of school. I joined the summer clubs. I competed in regional and national competitions, but I just did it alone. I went there, I performed, and I left. No friends, no introduction, no social life. You can see that I'm fast forward and everything because there is no much details about that type of friendships. They were really shallow, they were not deep. So at high school I had more than one friend. I had two friends. We were talking about study topics like exams, tutors. It was not super exciting, so I will fast forward all the details. I will give you a hot take here. I will just give you the benefit of the doubt from my high school experience. We know that everybody talks about the duo in the trio, but nobody talks about something that is more common, which is the two duos in one trio. Me and that girl, we would call her Jennifer, we were close, and Jennifer and the girl, they were close. But me and that third girl, we were not that much close because she was gatekeeping. She had that type of toxic competitive energy. I know I'm not the last person that needs to judge people based on their competitive energy, but she was on another level. Even me during elementary school, I was not that toxic when it comes to gatekeeping, especially during the final year of high school before the university entrance exam. She would just pretend that she's lost. She was clueless. Me and Jennifer, we knew that she had it all figured out, and she was just pretending. All the magic happened when I moved to college. At the first year, like, I moved to a new place. It was far away from my hometown and from my family, so it was the perfect chance for me to leave the alone but not lonely lifestyle. It was like all the stars aligned for me to live that dream because I romanticized it a lot. Every Friday night, I clean my place very deep and put a calm music on, take a full shower, cook ramen, and then I treat myself with the sweets and the snacks while watching a movie or TV show. That was basically my Friday night. I was doing my laundry by myself, I was cleaning by myself, I was having my 3 meals by myself, and I loved it. Whenever I go back home for holidays, I'm always telling them that nothing is better than living alone, and having your own place and doing whatever you want, the time you want, the way you want, is heaven. And then I finished my first year of college peacefully, living that way. I felt pretty good until the next year when I met 2 girls that changed my life. They basically changed me. What's really funny is that I don't even remember how everything started. I don't remember who said hi first. I don't remember what we met. I don't remember how we got there. They really showed me what an actual and pure friendship should look like. Hear me out. I had a great life by myself, but I started learning what living really is, what life really is. What living is not only about my own peace and existence, it is sometimes about sharing a funny story with others and watching them laugh because of it. And I started with time realizing that things get more interesting when it's a group effort, when it's in group. You're seeing the world not only with 2 eyes, but instead of with 6 eyes or 4 eyes or whatever even number comes to your head. I realized that cleaning my space using a product that a friend recommended or listening to a music playlist where each song is full of karaoke memories is funnier. I realized also that gossiping and spilling unnecessary tea while having my meals is time consuming, yeah, but it's a quality time. I discovered who I am with them because if I just kept by myself, I wouldn't improve any of my life insects. It is like they taught me how to be a person and live in a society and interact with people. I won't lie to you, when I start reflecting on some of what I've said or did in the past, I really think. And I realized that people knew that I had social anxiety while talking to them. I don't want to talk more about what I did with these girls because it's a lot, and if I start just telling you some of the gossip, I won't stop until tomorrow. But summarizing it, you won't really know who you are until you get deep into a real relation or real friendship. Now, you're telling me, girl, you're just flexing here, just bragging about your healthy friendship. I'll tell you firmly, girlies, no. It is just a life experience that taught me a lot and put a seed in my heart that was not there before. It is like, I know that I can do it by myself, but living it with people is funnier. I now moved to a new country where I barely know anyone, I have no friends, but thanks to the healthy friendship I had, I am now not consciously looking for a society or somewhere to belong to. And this is what each one of you needs to hear. I know that 100% you need to hear this. Girl, put yourself out there. Embarrassment doesn't exist. It is only in your head. It tells you that these days on social media. I noticed that I changed a lot after that friendship. My inner voice nowadays is not, oh, they will see you as a weirdo. It's the opposite. I'm just saying embarrassment isn't real. If I have a question, I'm gonna ask people. If they don't respond, they are weirdos and mean, and I'll remove them from my potential friends group. I know they are bad, so I will not romanticize any future relation with them. If I get in an elevator and someone is there, I smile to them and I say hi or goodbye, and you can never imagine how your own words or your own smile will affect someone else's day. And this is just a warning or a conclusion, is that you need to be careful, you guys, because I know that since the start of this episode I was like, go and put yourself out there, live with friends, living with people is better than living alone. But this doesn't mean necessarily that you need to put yourself in a toxic group friend just because you want to have friends for the sake of having friends. Don't ever engage in friendships where you feel humiliated and your interests seem weird to them. Move out from them and run away. There is no relation on this planet Earth that deserves your inner peace. There is no toxic friend that should be in your life right now. No, cut them off. And I think that I need to do another episode how to cut toxic friends off and how to deal with breakups and how to move out, because believe me, I'm really good at it. You need to run away from that type of toxic environment, especially in your early 20s. It is where you are trying to figure out life, and being in someone else's box or limits is not good for you. It's not the best. You will ruin your life just because you had the wrong friends at the wrong time. We have came to the end of today's episode. While writing the scripts of this episode, I felt sick. I felt the ick. I was like, damn, did I do that? Damn, girl, what was that? Damn, what I was thinking about. Stay safe as usual. Thank you for watching, and thank you for streaming, and see you in the next episode.